If you know anything about GEO, or getting recommended by AI search, you've probably heard people talk about listicles. Listicles, of course, are articles like Best Plumber in Dallas or Best CRM Solution for Universities. Listicles are notorious for being one of the most effective ways to influence the response of AI, but they've also been quite controversial. In the early days of GEO, lots of companies started spamming self-promotional listicles on their own website, listing themselves as the top choice. They were doing this, of course, because it was highly effective. AI finds these listicles, sees that you're listed number one, and recommends you back to the user. Over time, however, they have become less effective, but there's a lot of misunderstanding around why. So I just want to clear up that misunderstanding and explain when you still want to pursue placement inside these listicles. One of the first case studies of self-promotional listicles backfiring was Shopify. They were creating hundreds of these pages, and it was doing really well until suddenly their traffic and citations dropped off a cliff. And there were several other high-profile cases like this, where Google manually penalized sites that were doing this at scale. But to this day, I've yet to see any evidence that Google is penalizing this algorithmically. The only penalties I've seen are manual penalties from someone doing this at scale. In other words, it was so effective that a human at Google noticed it and manually placed the penalty on the website. However, at the beginning of 2026, we did notice that listicles were starting to become less effective. Now, as an agency, we never did self-promotional listicles at scale. And for most clients, we never did them at all. Honestly, most brands just feel like it's a little cringe to have on their website. But we have and still will create articles like how to choose the best immigration attorney. That allows us to still go after the same search term without the cringe factor. But even those articles started being less effective towards the beginning of 2026. And now we finally understand why. About a month ago, Ahrefs put out a study testing the impact of self-promotional listicles. And what they found matches what we've seen for our clients. They published self-promotional listicles to 4 separate websites promoting 2 of their products, their core software offering, as well as a new event they just started. What they found were the listicles were very effective at getting AI to recommend their event, but not so effective for their core software offering. What we're finding is that AI is still using listicles for discovery. If the AI isn't aware of your brand, listicles can help it get discovered. However, AI is no longer just blindly trusting recommendations from listicles. If AI already sees you as a top choice in your category, showing up on more listicles is unlikely to increase how often you're recommended. However, if there's an argument for your brand to be one of the top choices in the category and AI is not seeing you as such, listicles can make a big difference. They get you in the game. And this is true not just for self-promotional listicles, but also listicles on websites like Yelp. It used to be that when AI cited Yelp, their final recommendation closely matched Yelp's recommendation. Nowadays, AI is still looking at Yelp to look at reviews and what people are saying about you, but it doesn't seem like they really care what order you appear in their listicle. So do listicles still matter? Yes, especially if you're having trouble getting AI to recognize you in a category you deserve to be in. Should you be spamming self-promotional listicles across your website? Probably not. But do you have to worry about being penalized for doing it to a reasonable degree? Definitely not.